Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another signature gifted hater tier list style YouTube video. Today, I'm going to be ranking YouTube skaters, and this is not going to be like which YouTuber has the best skateboarding channel. No, what I'm going for here is I'm going to be ranking them in order of which one, in my opinion, is the best skater. And this is going to be my opinion. Everybody is going to have different approaches to what they value in skateboarding. This is my list. There's a certain like meta and style that exists for YouTube skaters, which is a lot of kind of like flashy flip tricks and forward flips, under flips, late shoves, 360 hard flips, that kind of shit that you don't really see too often in your normal skateboarding video parts. The reason for this is my kind of theory on how this works, is I think it takes a long time in skateboarding to develop a taste for what you think looks good. When you first get into skateboarding, I think that you kind of look at it mathematically and with kind of like a blunt or obtuse view, which is like, you know, the more times a board flips, the better. So naturally, you think the guys that flip their boards more are the best guys. So, you know, when you go onto YouTube, when you're learning, you want to learn about skating, you see a bunch of guys that can do triple kick flips, and you're like, oh yeah, these guys fucking rock. And like mainstream skateboarding is probably less appealing because it's difficult to understand. YouTube skating has been considered like this really derogatory, gross thing that has been generally shunned by the mainstream skateboarding community. I can understand it. And I also think, you know, being in the position that I am in, I can actually appreciate some of what YouTube skaters have to offer. Initially, I've been like really critical and harsh towards YouTube skaters, but now from where I sit at the moment, I can actually kind of like enjoy some YouTube skating, even though I'm very much able to identify, in my opinion, what the problems are with it. I think skateboarding at the moment has a stagnation problem and has a copycat system. A lot of skaters, ironically, are really risk averse, not obviously in the sense of jumping down an 18 stair, but I think in the sense of trying to do something kind of different. Even the videos that are supposed to be cool these days, right? It's like, dude, if I see another ride on grind in Los Angeles with emo music playing behind it, I'm gonna fucking with my brains. I'm so fucking bored, and so much of the shit that comes out is incredibly monotonous. Every Thrasher edit has the same $5 fucking rock music to it. It is so boring. It's like trying to walk the line between being core and also like not pissing anybody off at the same time. If you piss people off a little bit, that's like kind of at least a little bit more like punk rock swag, you know?
Even if the YouTube skaters are being like different completely on accident and their difference is the result of ineptitude, a handful of these parts are more enjoyable than half the shit that is coming out on the mainstream core YouTube channels.
So the way that this is going to work is I'm going to be ranking these skaters based off of primarily their video part, if they have that available. I understand that this is kind of like a wonky way of maybe gauging the skill of a YouTube skater, because a YouTube skater, their job is not to put out video parts, and I think most YouTube skaters don't do a good job with their video parts. I think they're bad at it.
Which is okay, because it's not a YouTuber's job to drop a dope video part. It's their job to make YouTube videos. So gauging a YouTuber's skateboarding skill level this way is kind of backwards, because it's, you know, sort of like going to a Mexican restaurant and asking for sushi and then complaining that the food you get isn't very good. It's not their specialty. But I think this is the most entertaining way of doing this list.
Anyway, let's go to our first skater on the list here. I'm going to pick, to start off, I'm going to pick the guy that kind of actually inspired this list, and who many of you probably are not at all familiar with, and that is Skate Theorist. He's a brand new YouTuber, and he's cranking them out, baby. You guys, You guys are not ready for what Skate Theorist is dishing out. You know, Dan Corrigan uploads every single day. The rapper Froggy Fresh, he says,
compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy.
Compared to me, Jay-Z is lazy. Dude, Dan Corrigan compared to Skate Theorist is lazy. This guy uploads like 3 or 4 times a day, and you might be thinking, how does he do it? How could you possibly be that productive? Well, it's because Skate Theorist just turns the camera on, and whatever thought happens to waltz into his mind, that's what ends up in the video. For most of his videos, there is little to no preparation. Most of the time, he doesn't even know what he's going to be talking about when he turns on the camera, and that's how he's able to upload 5 fucking videos a day. He's so unprepared. In fact, his intro, like his signature move, is just butchering the shit out of the person's name that he's talking about.
What's up, y'all? It's Skate Theorist. So today I'm talking about Andy Schrock.
And his other signature move is saying the N-word like 8 times per video.
And I'm not talking about the N-word that you're thinking about. I'm talking about a different one. Nutty. Skate Theorist loves to say nutty. Everything is nutty.
I had a buddy who could barely skate, but he could hospital flip like Nutty. All right, this guy's nuts. Primo slides are nuts. This dude is nuts. This guy's nuts. The N-word.
10 seconds without saying nutty for Skate Theorist is an impossible challenge. I'm actually going to change the average tier and name it Nutty. Up until very recently, Skate Theorist only had 1 video of himself skateboarding on the internet that I was able to find, and it is a juicy hard flip. I would say that he's pretty much mastered the hard flip. You know how Brian Arnett has mastered the late shove? You can't do him any better than those guys. Next guy on the list I want to do is Chris Chan. Okay, so Chris is probably in the very top elite echelon of skaters on this list in terms of skill level. Chris Chan's video part, the one that I watched, what is it called? I'm sorry, I had to look this up. It's called Christopher Chan Full Street Part. I'll give Chris credit for a part that came out 8 years ago. This aged pretty well. Like, it's not like the outfits that he's wearing in it are that insane or anything. This was like 2015 range, which was peak Diamond Supply snapback era, which was an abysmal time for fashion for everybody. And I think in general, Chris Chan kind of came out unfazed. But as far as the skateboarding itself goes, Chris Chan is known for, like, you know, doing dragon flips and dolphin flips, a bunch of shit like that. That is present in his part. But most of it is kind of what you expect to see from a YouTube video part, I think, which is a lot of perfect street spots. Much of them are ledges. And I think the reason for that is YouTubers, they don't really have like much of a developed sense for spot selection or tricks to do at certain spots. Most of the time, I think their primary experience is skating skate parks. So when they go and skate street, they look for spots that resemble skate parks. And this was also a really heavy ledge skating era. But this part kind of fits in exactly with what you would expect to see. Perfect ledge spots, and YouTube skaters like to go to perfect spots and try to do skate park tricks at them, which are like flip your board as many times as you can, and get as tech as you can on perfect ledges. And Chris, that's what Chris Chan does, and he does it pretty well. My primary criticism of Chris is that he skates pretty slowly. His style is good. Like the actual way that he just naturally moves on his skateboard, he has a lot of finesse. You can tell that he is a really talented skater, just slash athlete in general. Because he's going for such technical shit, some of it kind of bordering on the illegal side, that, like, for example, if he does like a tail slide and he 270s out of it, he basically ends up at a standstill afterwards. And this is, you know, brings me to another point about some YouTube skating is I think that these guys kind of think about skateboarding where they don't really consider so much how the trick is done, where they're mostly, and I'm not speaking about Chris specifically here, they mostly are, and 8 years ago was a long time, so I'll definitely like cut Chris slack on some of the less well executed tricks, but I think a lot of YouTube skaters don't really care about, you know, style or how well a trick was done. They care about the difficulty and whether or not the trick was technically made or not. And I think there's a little bit of that in Chris Chan's part for sure. I will say the thing that really sticks out to me about Chris's part is he does dolphin flip, manual dolphin flip, which I think is kind of an iconic YouTuber trick. Last thing I want to check out here is I talked about Chris Chan's his Diamond Supply era fits sort of and how they were kind of okay. I think I might prefer that to current Chris Chan. Maybe you notice his incredible board control, that dipped cab, or maybe you notice these pleather pants that he's wearing, man. If you farted in these things, that would be it. It would be sealed in there like a Ziploc bag. And he is skating in the LA sun. That fart is just baking. The air in those pants is not going to be released until he takes them off. I know Chris likes to walk the line between, like, you know, skateboarding and fashion a little bit, but I'm not convinced that those ones should have made it out of the closet. Yeah, I'm gonna put Chris in the daddy like tier. Because daddy like. Let's do another big name here. Let's go with John Hill. I have been a vociferous critic of John Hill. It's just because of like his general narcissism and the way that he markets himself and his thumbnails and shit. I find it really annoying. John Hill's the only skater on this list that I think actually had the option, or it would have been feasible or not an insane thing to say, maybe had a choice between traditional skateboarding and YouTube. You know, if you look at his Revive part that came out, you try to ignore like the track pants and the pink Vans, the t-shirt with the cat wearing 3D glasses on it. You put all of that aside and you just look at his skating, and he does like a steezy ass fakey frontside heel flip. John Hill is an impressive skater. He knows what he is doing. I mean, he sometimes knows what he's doing. Other times he does not know what he's doing, and he throws in awful, awful, awful clips into his part. But his ender is a good summary of John Hill as a skateboarder. He does a proper switch tray down a set. It's not a huge set or anything, but you can just tell there is a difference between good skaters and skaters that are really, really good. Great skaters. John Hill sometimes is a great skater, and he's sometimes a great skater because he used to actually be a real prospect. And after he does that switch tray, he like anime runs away, and I think that's probably why he's a YouTuber. Yeah, I mean, if you rewind even further on John Hill's clips, he's fucked up good. He is not like prodigy level or anything like that. It's not like, you know, you look at his old footage and you think, well, you know, he could have been the next Nyjah. He's a complete idiot for not pursuing traditional skateboarding or core skateboarding. But he was good. There's probably a lot of other people that were around the same skill level, but he had proper steez. He used to skate fast. Not only that he was doing basic tricks, he actually had some smart skateboarding tricks up his sleeve. Like I remember he did switch back lip, 3-shove out on a ledge. Kind of a sick maneuver. Maybe that was just trending at the time or something. But that's a lot better than the shit that John Hill does today. You know, and that kind of brings me to the last thing that I'll discuss, which is, did John Hill make the right decision pursuing YouTube? I think that looking at where he is now and his career's trajectory, I assume John Hill has some money. He lives in Texas. He probably has a house. I think John Hill's a little crazy. I think he hangs out by himself too much, like a lot of YouTubers do. But seeing like the way that his career has panned out, I think that it probably was a better idea for John Hill to do YouTube. I think he's a little quirky. I could see him getting on other people's nerves a little bit. It's probably a good idea that he went with a more safe route. And I know that sounds weird to say that YouTube is a safer route, but if you're somebody of John Hill's skill level and you can learn to talk on camera and shit, and you have John Hill's ability on a skateboard, it makes sense to do YouTube. YouTube is a significantly less competitive space than street skateboarding. I'm gonna put him in the daddy-like tier. If you look at the skateboarder that John Hill was in his early parts, he could have been in the god tier. He's still good, I don't particularly enjoy John Hill's skateboarding these days that much. I think by and large, he just does kind of like slow ledge tricks and like films on a tripod, which I think is pretty boring. But, you know, compared to the pretty meager, harmless competition that he's faced with, he's going to be put relatively high on this list. Jason's got an interesting style to his skating. He's kind of like has a similar flip trick selection as like Jeff Wan Song. His setup for popping a trick is he's really fast. He crouches quickly and then he like puts his body in this weird tuck knee motion. And then what follows is like a 360 hard flip at lightning speed, 2 inches off of the ground. I think he kind of thrived in the like happy medium type of era. His parts were on Thrasher, which would never happen now. I don't think Thrasher these days would be so receptive, and it's much more fashionable to be very serious about skating. And, you know, the type of tricks that Jason Park does, which is like, you know, jump off of his skateboard and high-five it, then jump back on it. They would never, ever, ever consider posting anything like that now.
I shouldn't say they would never consider posting anything like that. That's kind of unfair because they did just post the Matt Tomasello Sink Juice part, which Matt is like, I think he definitely has more industry cred than Jason Park, but I will say it's not like they would never post anything. And I also, I have a tendency to blame Thrasher, and I think other people do as well, for like what gets featured, but it also, Thrasher is like, they can only post what is being made, and I think generally this kind of like wackier or more avant-garde style of skateboarding is not as trendy at the moment.
I'd like to see skateboarding in general take a little bit more risk. And I get it's hard to be inventive and creative and not be corny. Like, it's a really difficult line, but I think the overall culture and the way that and the direction that people are being pushed right now is just too safe, which is part of why doing this list has been kind of a refreshing exercise. Some of his parts actually didn't age as well as I remembered them, but yeah, I'll put him right there. Let's do Aaron Cairo next, who is acknowledged by many as like the king or the boss of YouTube skating. There's a clip in the beginning of Andy Schrock's part that has Aaron Cairo. It just makes you think how free YouTube skating was, that these two like bozos actually took this shit over and were like the faces of YouTube skating.
You're building the tension! You're building the tension!
There was no fucking competition. Like, for a community that is like so gate-kept and self-policing, the fact that this fucking guy, look at his face, the fact that he came in and took it over, that is just infuriating. I try to keep my criticisms and the jokes that I make about people mostly based on things that either they decide or things that they can change. But I hate Aaron Cairo's face, man. I just hate it. He looks like a Skyrim NPC who would try to give you a bad deal on a pair of gloves. I would love to create Aaron Cairo in a video game and slay him recreationally. When it comes to his skating, though, you look at Aaron Cairo's video part, you know, what pisses me off about Aaron Cairo is I saw his most recent video part, and then I looked at the video part he did before that part, and he's skating a bunch of the same fucking spots. And his skating has only gotten worse since he was younger, which is, you know, that kind of makes sense. But he's only devolved. He hasn't, like, matured and become a better skater or anything like that. He's strictly gotten worse at skateboarding and just done easier tricks at the same spots that he used to skate. Another similar theme that you'll see in YouTube skater parts, they basically look like outdoor banging skate videos, you know, where they'll be lit up and they'll be filmed long lens from the side and you'll see some stupid overly tech manual trick that doesn't even fucking count. Aaron Cairo is obsessed with this manual to like pivot. I don't understand how skateboarding is your job and you don't understand that the entire point of a fucking manual is that you keep 2 wheels on the ground at a time. If your manual involves 4 wheels touching, it's not a manual. Aaron Cairo specializes also in the manual kickflip, which is impressive, I think, to little kids, which is what Aaron Cairo's audience is comprised of. Once you learn a manual kickflip, you realize that you can do that shit every single time, which is another staple of YouTube skating tricks that are not as difficult as they look. That is one of the many deceptive techniques that Aaron Cairo employs. By the way, if you're a kid and you're considering getting mom's credit card and buying the Braille Plus subscription, don't fucking do it. That information is available 4,000 other places on the internet. And if you go and get it for free, you won't be helping fund Scientology.
Literally, you can learn any trick that you want to know how to do, and as little time as you take to actually do it.
Holy shit!
My name is Aaron, I'm a skateboarder, and I'm also a Scientologist.
Just like Steve Barra. Why is it that the two most popular skate YouTube dudes are both Scientologists? It's pretty fucking weird. I think Aaron Cairo should delete his channel. Let's do Black Ninja. He has many parts. Some of them are in the skate park. Other ones are street parts. Black Ninja's a YouTube G. I used to watch a lot of Black Ninja, and I like him a lot. Black Ninja has a couple things going for him. Two things that really stick out when I think of Black Ninja skateboarding. The first one is the sneakers that he wears, like the all-white, massive, puffy D3 looking things that he pairs with the neon green laces. I think as a YouTuber, a content creator, whatever you want to call it, it's important to have trademarks. That being one of his trademarks is so boss, and that's aged really well. Like high contrast laces have been trendy for like a couple of years now. Ninja was way ahead of his time. I think in many categories, Black Ninja was ahead of his time. Also, the other thing that Black Ninja did that is fucking genius, by the way, he's a multi-talented king. He sang and rapped to his own skateboarding parts. By the way, the street one that I was watching, the song isn't even fucking bad. It's pretty decent.
Guess who's singing again? I'm singing again. I'm singing again, nose grinding again.
It's hard to decide what song you want to put on your part. Black Ninja solves the problem. He's like, you know, if I can't figure out what song to use on my part, I'll just make my own song. I can make a song that is custom tailored to the footage that I have. Sometimes he's rapping or singing about the trick that is happening on screen, or other times he is doing some general commentary about the skateboarding, not necessarily specific to the trick. He did one thing that I have never, ever seen before that is a massive brained YouTuber decision. He defends a trick that he does in the song. So anybody that's going to talk shit or critique him, he gets ahead of it. Before you even have a chance to touch your keyboard, Black Ninja is already explaining to you why the nose slide to manual that he does is not nearly as ass as it looks.
Like the internet hard, no slide balance on par, I'm raising the bar. Pardon the fuck out of me for having some fun with my parts. Oh yeah, sorry. No fun is allowed, cause skateboarding is so motherfucking serious now.
Perfect.
But yeah, as far as the skateboarding goes, Black Ninja, he indulges in some illegal skateboarding practices. He does somersaults and shit. I couldn't understand. He does this like, I think it was like a 50-50 to like bashes his board on a rail and flips it over. That should have been his ender, not the other like somersault thing that he did. I get that's his like one of his signature moves, but the second to last trick in his part is actually really, really, really sick. So sure, from a skill level perspective, is Black Ninja the best guy on this list? Definitely not. No. But in my heart, in my list, is he the best? Fuck yeah. Black Ninja, YouTube God. And by the way, the part that he put together, it does a lot of things correctly that other YouTuber parts don't do. Many YouTuber parts are filmed over a period of like fucking 3, 4, 5 years and 7 different cameras. YouTubers don't give a shit about creating something that looks good, that has any type of artistic integrity or cohesion. The only thing that they care about is putting out the part. So it's like by any means necessary, you know? You got a GoPro fucking video here, you've got a rolling long lens line filmed on a camcorder there, and then you've got a fucking iPhone fisheye angle in the next clip. They don't give a fuck. They just create some bullshit Frankenstein thing, and then they call that their street part. Sure, technically it's a fucking street part. Black Ninja's part, all filmed on crispy VX. Like, this is a YouTuber who had a good filmer, and the VX footage actually looks really, really, really nice. So full credit to Black Ninja as far as that's concerned. Okay, let's do Dan Corrigan next. YouTube skaters, like I said, like creating parts isn't really their specialty, but Dan Corrigan especially, I think, adjusted for his skill level, the video parts that he comes out with are dog shit. He should not attempt to do any more video parts at all. It is actual skateboarding. Like, I've seen, you know, compilations of Dan Corrigan skating around. He's good. He has some like unique tricks, but his skateboarding just translates way, way, way fucking better to YouTube videos or Instagram, TikTok. When he packages it in a YouTube format, it is really, really hard to watch. And in the last case, listen to Mariah Carey Christmas GoPro fucking footage 9/11 disaster. If you're somebody who has a gift and you are good at something and you fucking butcher it as badly as Dan Corrigan does, then you don't deserve to have a good spot on the list. Also, Dan Corrigan's girlfriend is 12 years younger than him, so we'll put Dan in the my girlfriend is 12 years younger than me tier. Local Joe has no fucking footage. He has nothing. All he has is YouTube shorts, and that's fine. He's somebody that I kind of considered putting on this list or not putting on this list, but I fuck with Local Joe, so I'm gonna put him on this list anyway. He's probably been skating for the shortest amount of time. Maybe him or Skate Theorist for that category, which makes sense because the purpose of his channel is to document himself improving at skateboarding. So obviously he's not that good. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He just skates in a skate park. He's for sure one of the worst skaters on this list, but I would rather watch him than watch Aaron Cairo. That is for damn sure. So I'm gonna put. Also, he can frontside heel flip, which is a pretty hard trick, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put Local Joe in the nutty tier. Let's do Andy Schrock. Yeah, dude, fucking Aaron Cairo and Andy Schrock. They were destined to work at like a cell phone kiosk in Costco. I can't believe that they are in the position that they are now. Andy Schrock has the worst style on this list. Just flat out, he is really, really painful to watch on a skateboard. And it's not only the fact that he sucks, it's just the way that he is built, man. His legs bow out in the most peculiar fashion. The thing that I've noticed about him is added up in my brain is I realize he is just like a fucking adult infant. You look at the way that his face is shaped, and when he falls, he doesn't fall like a normal person. You know, if you like push a toddler over, Andy Cock, the Red Rocket, he just falls into crisscross applesauce position. His ender is a kickflip, 50-50, like indie grab, finger flip out on an angle iron ledge. So I think that tells you all that you really need to know about Andy Schrock. These days, Andy's not skating so much. He's just exploiting his son for YouTube revenue, which actually, you know, makes sense kind of since Andy Schrock is an adult infant. He was destined to start a kid's YouTube channel. If you are a parent and you have a kid that is the star of your YouTube show and your income is now contingent on that child and putting that kid in YouTube videos, in the back of your mind, you have to be a little bit scared because your position of authority as a parent is like, I'm the boss. I tell the kid what to do. I'm the breadwinner. If your job is filming your son, that's got to mess with that dynamic at some point. And your kid is going to become sentient and realize this guy can't fucking tell me what to do. He needs me. Once that kid wakes up and he realizes who the fucking real boss of the Schrock household is, you are in hot water. I love Ben D. You know, what can I say? People like to say Aaron Cairo is the father of skateboard YouTube. Not as far as I'm concerned. Ben D is the only father that I am willing to accept in the YouTube skater universe. I don't think Ben has any street footage. He has a compilation of him when he's younger skating skate parks. What's pretty remarkable to me as a guy in his
Late 30s, I think. I don't even know.
Ben is still like very skilled. He's not quite as fluid or stylish as he used to be, but the drop off is minimal compared to most skateboarders and human beings from their 20s to their
whatever he is.
Ben has aged remarkably well. I think Ben has been smart about taking care of himself, eating right, prioritizing his body and his health. And that is evidenced in his footage. You know, I filmed a park review with Ben, and I'm not sure if I'm going to put it out or not. I haven't looked at the footage. One of the reasons that I'm hesitant about putting out that park review is I'm 25. Ben is, I don't know, 40 maybe, around there. And he absolutely ate my ass in terms of tricks made. He was shredding. Now, I picked a park that I knew was going to be Ben favored, a lot of ledges, because Ben he's a really good ledge skater. But he was crushing. He was landing tricks like over 50% of the time. Ben is a skater who knows really well what he can and cannot do. He's willing to draw the line. Like when I do park reviews, I like to kind of egg people on and try to convince them to try something that maybe is a good idea for them, maybe is not a good idea. I'm like, hey, you should hard flip the 11. That would be kind of cool. You know, typical YouTuber bullshit. I tried to manipulate Ben a little bit and be like, Ben, my boy. I mean, what if we flipped into that? And Ben was not having fucking any of it. Ben knows his limits really, really well. He knows the tricks that he can do. His style's good. He's solid. He doesn't have like a YouTuber bag of tricks, probably because I'm going to put Ben in the daddy like tier. I got him right up here, and this is God's plan. We have 3 dudes with black hair wearing white t-shirts.
I put Ben in front of John Hill, and I did that subconsciously because I like Ben more than John, but John is better. Realistically, John should probably be in the top of this tier.
Last 5 here, Brian Arnett. I've skated with Brian in real life too. I think Brian is probably maybe the best late shoveter in the game, definitely in the YouTube game. I think Wes Kramer has a mean late shove too, but that's kind of harsh to compare a YouTuber to Wes Kramer. But anyway, Brian Arnett's video part, better late than never. It's all right. I mean, I think the editor that he had, his name was like Eddie Blunts or something. Dude, you did not need to put Blunts in your name to tell people that you were a pothead. That shit was edited like Ty Evans ripped a 10-foot bong and then you put him right in the editing bay. The transitions were ludicrous. When I skated with him in real life, Brian at La Pintoresca Park, he late shoveted the bump to ball first try. That was like a sizable gap. Brian's very good at what he does, and like he's kind of like a mid-size stair set and gap skater. He does some normal tricks in his part, and he also does a lot of wackier ones, like obviously late shoves and shit. The one that I remember quite well is he did cab late body varial. I don't really think that he's like a great ledge skater or rail skater or manual skater. Brian has leveraged and transformed that really niche skill set, made an impression on actual like legitimate street skateboarding history, which is the triple set in downtown LA. He late shoved that thing. So the trick that Brian Arnett is best at, he went to a proper like legit ass spot and did it, which is really, really respectable. I don't think any other skater on this list has an NBD at like an iconic street spot. So for that reason, I'm going to put Brian in the top right here next to Jason Park. I could be convinced switching these 2 guys out in either direction, but yeah, I mean it's a toss up for me right now. Jason Park has some good footage. Let's go with Gary Rogers. Gary Rogers has almost 0 footage. Probably some people are thinking like, skateboard YouTuber? What are you talking about? He does a show on YouTube about skateboarding. He's a skateboard YouTuber. Just because his YouTube videos premiere on Thrasher doesn't mean that shit is not skateboarding YouTube. On his Instagram, he has like a backsmith, like front foot impossible big spin thing that he did in like a pretty steezy pink Thrasher outfit. Some of the clips on his Instagram page are pretty ass, but I think that Gary is probably hiding his power level somewhat. The amount of time, like Gary's an OG in like YouTube skating. He's gotten in with a cool crowd. I have to think that he has more up his sleeve than he is revealing on IG. And the only thing I could find of him on YouTube was like video part that's over 10 years old and he's like a child in it. So that's definitely like not fair game to use. Yeah, I'm going to put Gary right behind Local Joe. And I'm sorry, Local Joe's stacking out there. Local Joe's he's dropping footage in his YouTube shorts section. So Gary, if he actually posted more, he could easily catapult himself ahead of Local Joe. That would be a huge win for Gary Rogers, I'm sure. Garrett Jenner, skill-wise, he's up here. He doesn't have any video parts that I was able to find, but he's good. Like he's actually capable of like creating some proper lines. He has a steezy switch hard flip in the Instagram compilation that I was watching of him. He did one in a line where I was like, damn, he can 50-50 handrails. He did this pretty well put together no push line at that red spot where he does 50-50 shove it out. Garrett Jenner, he's got some skills. He definitely has YouTuber brain. He's pretty well rounded, and even though he doesn't have a video part, I think that Garrett Jenner single-handedly has the most dopiest single YouTube video out of anyone here, which is the kickflip over the LA River. He drops in like a mini mega ramp, and then he flies off some blue keen ramp and kickflips the LA River. It's fucking dramatic. It's great television, quality entertainment. That's like the greatest skateboard YouTube video I've ever seen. I mean, that was fucking iconic. I was on the edge of my seat for that one. I almost cried when he fucking rolled away from that. So Garrett Jenner, I'm putting him in the top of the nutty tier. I think that it's kind of a shame, unless I'm mistaken. I don't know. It's possible that I just missed it. But I think it is a little bit of a shame that he doesn't have like a video part or anything, because he's kind of good. Haha, he skates for Cariuma, whatever, and was skating also Bright Skateboards, Barracks, Steve Barra. He's good. He is a fucking good skateboarder. Johnny Geiger. What did Johnny Geiger do that blew my fucking mind? He did like a hippie jump back 180 late flip. It was nutty. Later on in the part, like this is YouTuber Brain 101, where they will do some like technically unbelievable like shit where you're like, how the fuck did you arrive at this trick? And like the next thing he does is he nollie flips down a set, and then he does like a boneless 180. There is no like theme or continuity to these YouTuber skate parts. They're just like, fuck it, boneless 180, the stair set. And also my ender is going to be a double flip fucking primo slide. So that's what I was saying about like a lot of these dudes filming their video parts, like Barracks things. You know, having your ender be inside of an indoor parking lot is kind of hilarious. But Johnny Geiger, man, my nutty tier is, I think it's a little too crowded. There's going to be people that are like, you're underrating Johnny Geiger. Sorry, I just don't care about him very much. Yeah, I'm going to actually, there we go. Yeah, I like Brian more than Johnny Geiger. Kiss my ass, Johnny Geiger fans. I can't move Skate Theorist out of the nutty tier. That it exists because of him. All right, I'll figure this out at the end. All right, last but not least, Ricky Glazer. Ricky has some street parts. Ricky's biggest problem is he has some cool tricks. When I played him skate, I thought he was going to beat my ass because I've seen him on Instagram doing some pretty gnarly dark slides at the Braille warehouse facility. I was like, this guy's going to be cracked. He fucking sucked at flat ground. I twisted his nipples with ease. The crook on the flat bar with the curved end, he does crook impossible out on it. That is fucked up. Ricky has high highs and low lows. I think the main thing holding Ricky back in his skateboarding is the fact that he looks like his feet are way too big for his skateboard. A lot of the time, also when he rolls away from tricks, he kind of like tic-tacs, is just like a little bit sketchy. It looks like he's skating like a 775. Like he has like the Elijah Burrell thing going on. But Ricky's one of those guys. He's not about his swag. He's all about getting it done. He's a blue collar skater. Yeah, let me do some rearranging here. I think I might have to move Local Joe down here and Ricky Glazer up here. I like Local Joe though. I don't want to put him there. May not have a choice. Who should I just kill right now? Should I just kill somebody? Put him also... I need to have one more skater in the I'm 5 This Is Good range. Oh my god. Fuck it. Gary Rogers doesn't really have enough footage to be justified in that tier with the likes of Skate Theorist and Ricky Glazer. He's an elite company there. You got to grind to fit in with that crowd. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If this video reaches 10,000 likes, I'll do my next skate park review in Chris Chan's leather pants. Goodbye.